What dreams? Well, that's really cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, I don't know whose dream I'm living, but I'm living it.
Did you see my email? It was kind of written poorly, but I didn't know the best way to set up a meeting, but a few times I've just talked
You will-
randomly.
You will want to start with him.
Okay. Hey Jeff, what is happening
It
on
wasn't a
East
super
Third
urgent
Street?
thing.
And I know the sewer lines along 69, Fanning that. Is there anything going on back further to the east?
I used to think that was more of like a.
We're doing some of that sidewalk.
All right.
That's not
Yeah.
That's about it. Decided
Yeah, we did, I think, you know, we did.
I had somebody reach out and said that they had flags in their yard and their yard had a spot that was torn up. And I went down and looked. I didn't see anything noticeable,
I ran by there.
but I told them I'd ask about
There's sidewalks that kind of come out and
Yeah.
line. He's done that, you know, since John was last.
I'll just explain that too, because I thought they were doing some sort of rear loading. Rear, like loading dock, it's almost like something.
Well, I appreciate it.
Loading the back of the stage
There is
on the south end.
Yeah.
Because I went by there and I looked, obviously it's just going on wild, but I was looking at the grading. Like, are they gonna try and grade a pathway or anything for people or? But yeah,
You mean even. Same time for them. I don't know.
Those were all good and bad, so they had stuff.
Oh, thank you. We got two on water, understand that.
That's not a big sense.
Yeah, those are big ones.
A lot of it goes to. Yeah, the town.
There's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, they all put the pictures and word. Sir, you may ready to see if we can get ourselves to see that.
And they put the flight path in this year, the one from nowhere, the flight.
Cheap, you mean, with the setup. So yeah, it's DOT money, we got meeting. Last week with engineer design.
So is this gonna be like a 5-year project like the interstate or? I just thought I'd ask.
Pay to do that, so it should be that next year.
You gotta do a flyover.
But it's actually, it's on schedule, they've got they have the plan. There's a certain amount of plan that you submit on first, which is typically that, they would, reshoot a couple of, elevations. I know there was ever be something.
Yeah. I didn't see anything in the packet that alerted me to. No concerns.
I was really shocked.
I know that they're doing.
Yes, in general, yes, so. See, because he's still got that.
Yeah, no, that's fair, I was gonna say.
At least it's nice and cool out there.
It was about.
And for about my motorcycle, then I figured people want to take all this out and everything. And then you can say, I didn't do anything on the front. Couldn't say, I wish I could read those criticisms. Yeah. And then the last question I got on that.
Remember, you said that's the last, this next one's your last question.
That's fine. I got a lot of confidence. I just got one.
Take that, John.
I guess I won't be seeing you there. Take a break. That's for sure.
Fourth one or third?
Yeah.
Well, that's the same thing. I got a, and I haven't got a receipt. But, and what are we gonna do with silk fences? When do silk fences come out? I mean, cause if you look at like back here at third edition. There's still silk fences there. The problem is they run them silk fences 15 feet into the property line, which means nobody mows between the silk fence and the property line, which is just a weed fest. Yeah, as long as you got some ground cover so you don't have. And like behind me where they got that farm. Well, if it's getting up to the silk fence, they got problems. I don't have problems, but the neighbors next to me are underwater. Okay, I was just wondering how that.
You got something for you, you bring your tax. I have it. I don't even bring that up, turn you on Band-Aid. Library. I don't know if you're on a reception.
Okay, I did call, I didn't call Mike, yes, you didn't go. What's her name on? Davis County.
Hey, guys. Good, how are you?
And I said, I asked her.
Oh, super.
It's on, so.
Explain the situation. And she says, well, I'll have to look into why that was done. I said, well, what do you mean looking? But you voted yes to assess this. Okay. So you must know what's going on, and so it's yes. I'll get back to you, I don't think. So because.
My thought is that if I'm aware of somebody, I'll ask them, get validation. They can't find, they don't $5 for it until sure.
Down there.
I would consider it part of their budget. They knew that when I. They know that, they know if they're looking for some sort, they have a school.
Yes.
Second, I know it's there, so they did it for the black once, they just are blocks. Third aspect, why they do it there, we told them about it, or I told them about it. to council. And they went again and just. Cut it off without talking to the Tile District. And then they rerouted it without talking to the Tile District. So. So then why would it be the responsibility of citizens to pay for their. Incompetence? What, we got our neighbor.
I never done that.
And that's just ridiculous because. They basically violated the law. I knew they violated the law when they did something. So why am I paying for something for somebody to violate the law? I don't understand that concept.
I know that they have, their final, that engineer, he was assessed the as part of the project. Yeah. So. I guess I would like to see the topics of that sometimes. I, whether I live there or not, I don't know why. So, they're an engineering figure, I was like, that. So there, so, yeah.
I mean, it's not much, you have a house, but it's a principle.
Well,
To me, it's more, we're giving, I get out, I do it all, or something, that's it. You read this, but we are kind of.
You got it.
Hey, none of that back there, hey.
That's all right.
Oh,
So far, it's small now.
well, no, that's the easiest. And you won't think on the.
It is.
Yeah.
That's the same, why that pain, it's always been like this, it's wrong.
We'll all have to agree.
I would like to fish.
No, I see. You know, I said,
Oh,
You're looking happy, what are you looking so happy for?
I like my much. They were there, so you know, so.
That budget's.
Definitely, but I'm starting to start listening to point seven. Budgets.
That's what it is, so. Shoot.
You're right.
Good evening. The time is 6 p.m. I will call to order the Tuesday, July 22nd meeting of the Huxley City Council. We are live on YouTube as well. Need a roll call, please.
Roberts. Here. Etcher.
Here.
Rigler.
Here.
Murphy.
Here.
Mulder. Let the record show that Councilman Mulder is absent.
Thank you very much. Need a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll offer a motion.
Motion, Mr. Rigler.
We give you a second.
Second, Mr. Murphy. Any comments? Hearing none. All those in favor, please respond with aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Now is the time in the agenda for public comment. Anybody from the public wishing to speak tonight is certainly welcome to, and in fact encouraged to. Just ask that you limit your comments to 5 minutes and start with your name and address, please.
Good evening. I'm Karen Sebde, Story County Community Foundation for the purposes 515 Grand Avenue in Ames. I just wanted to bring your attention to our grant season this year. Last year, Huxley Fire and Rescue received grant funds from us for their defibrillator, which unfortunately has had to be used, but I understand it was used successfully. I would also like to bring your attention to the Ames Library grant. Actually, the Huxley Public Library would have received part of those grants. They would have received hotspots and tablets, which citizens can check out as needed. So I would entertain questions. The grant application process is due September 30th. It is open to 501c3 nonprofits as well as government entities such as fire and rescue, library, etc. So that's all I wanted to do. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. Anybody else from the public wishing to speak tonight? If you do want to speak on the work session item, we'll give you an opportunity during the work session, but any other agenda items, now would be your opportunity. Seeing no one rise. The time is 6:02. I will open the hearing to consider an ordinance amendment to the municipal code of the city of Huxley, chapter 165, to allow rezoning of the property at the east end of Skyview Boulevard, north end of Skyview Boulevard from M1 to R1.
I'll give you a motion.
They don't need a motion on this one.
We're just opening the hearing.
Just public hearing.
We'll have to have a motion.
Dave, you want to give a brief overview on this?
Yeah, well, I know Brett Culp is here this evening. Brent represents Don Van Howling. He's the engineer on the project. As you recall, I think it was about a year and a half ago, Don brought forward Blue Sky Estates, which was the first phase of the plat. There was additional ground to the east of that that had been planned for additional industrial sites to kind of go in with Blue Sky Commons that was put in prior to my time coming to the community. The lots have taken off very well in the first phase. As part of this, the folks that are building the interchange at 210, can't remember the contractor, but they've used part of Don's property and they've created a large pond or a lake there along the east side of Don's property up against the interstate. It'll be somewhere between, I think Don said it's about a 12-acre lake now. It was originally designed to be about 8, but it'll be about 12. And Don just felt like that might be a good amenity to do a second phase. So what he's asking for at this point is to rezone the remaining M1 property to R1. Brent's here to, if you have any questions. We did get the public hearing notices were set, put out. All of the required signs for the zoning were up in time to meet those requirements of the state law as well. So.
Okay, thank you. This is a public hearing. Is there anybody from the public that wishes to speak on this item this evening?
Honorable Mayor, members of City Council, my name is Brett Culp. I'm with Snyder and Associates at 2727 Southwest Snyder Boulevard in Ankeny, Iowa, representing Don Van Howling for his Blue Sky Lakeview Estates. This is approximately 43.5 acres, which is east of Blue Sky Estates, the existing development, as David said, was put in a couple of years ago. And Don's intent for this area was always a light industrial. And then with the improvements on the interstate and the borrow site that they're looking at to the east of the development, west side of the interstate, kind of gave him some ideas of expanding based off the success of the single family development and expanding single family into there where you've got the amenity of what would be the lake on the east side and the trail on the north, a lot of topography, which lend to some larger lots along the Heart of Iowa Trail. It'd be R1, which would be the same size minimum lot and setback that's currently out there, and which would be a 10,000 square foot minimum lot, 80 foot wide and 30 foot front yard setback. So the public improvements are available, sanitary, water, storm sewer. We'd have to extend the roadway across the drainage ditch that he had put a culvert in probably about 4 years ago now, and to get over to this area and extend the single family development. So be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Anybody else wishing to speak during the public hearing portion? Seeing no one rise, need a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll give you the motion.
Motion, Mr. Murphy.
Hold on for a second.
Second, Mr. Rigler. Barb, you on a voice vote or roll call? Roll call, please.
Oh, I'm sorry, I meant voice vote, but roll call. Murphy,
Yes.
Rigler,
Yes.
Etcher,
Yes.
Roberts. Yes.
Thank you very much. Need a motion, before I get to the consent agenda, are there any items anybody wishes to have pulled for separate discussion?
There is a first reading of the ordinance for the rezoning that was right after the hearing.
I apologize. Thanks,
It's
sir.
okay.
Yep, let me circle back. I need a motion to approve ordinance number 547, rezoning the property we just discussed from R1 to, from M1 to R1.
I'll make a motion.
Motion, Mr. Etcher.
Second.
Second, Ms. Roberts. This is just the first of 3 readings. Any further questions or comments? Hearing none. Roll call, please.
Etcher,
Yes.
Roberts. Yes. Murphy,
Yes.
Rigler,
Yes.
Okay, again, any consent agenda items that anybody wants pulled? Hearing none, need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
make a motion.
Motion, Ms. Roberts.
Hold on for a second.
Second, Mr. Rigler. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Roberts. Yes. Murphy,
Yes.
Rigler,
Yes.
Etcher,
Yes.
Okay, moving along this evening. Item 6A is a motion to approve resolution 25068, providing give notice for the and hearing of the city council of the city of Huxley regarding the requested annexation of the Brendelen and Clark properties. Need a motion to set the public hearing.
give you a motion.
Have a motion by Ms. Roberts.
Second.
Second by Etcher. Any further comments, discussion on this? Hearing none. Roll call, please.
Roberts. Yes. Murphy,
Yes.
Rigler,
Yes.
Etcher,
Yes.
Item 6B this evening is resolution 25069. It's a resolution approving the final plat, the platted easements and private facilities for Anthem Townhomes Plat 1. Need a motion.
Make a motion.
Motion, Mr. Etcher.
I'll second.
Second, Mr. Rigler. Any comments or questions?
I would just note for the record that Forrest has signed off, Aaron has signed off on all the legal. Chris has provided all the documents. He's got his signatures on. Once this is approved, there are several documents that the mayor will sign and then Chris will get everything recorded. So
This is approval of the final plat. Is this still contingent upon the 69 improvements getting completed?
this is on the townhomes. So yeah, anything that's in plat 1, plat 2, or plat 3 cannot have any occupancy until the 69 improvements are completed. That is correct.
Okay, thanks, sir. All right, I've got a motion and a second. No further discussion. Roll call, please.
Etcher,
Yes.
Roberts. Yes. Murphy,
Yes.
Rigler,
Yes.
Okay, need a motion to untable item 546.
I'll make a motion.
Motion, Mr. Etcher.
Second.
Second, Mr. Rigler. This item was previously tabled, voice month ago. Okay. Voice vote or roll call to untable. Okay. Voice vote to untable. All those in favor, please respond with aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Okay. Now, we've got discussion and follow-up regarding ordinance 546, amending the code of ordinances for Huxley, chapter 69, parking regulations related to prohibition of parking and imposition of civil fines. Do I need a new motion here?
Right now, we just had a discussion of follow-up. Excuse me, I think we're still looking for, we had a little bit of direction, but there were some thoughts of maybe unstriking some of the language that was strike. So I think we wanted the discussion first, but I do believe that if council does come to what they like for a first reading, you could have a motion to approve since we've got the appropriate follow-up this evening.
Okay, thank you, David.
I think, Aaron, the current version up here is the language that we talked about last time and thought we were okay with, right? It's just if we wanted to make any changes after that, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, Dave and I kind of talked through this too. The understanding was that maybe you wanted more public input and wanted the opportunity to see if you had some public comment that was received with these. So we wanted to bring it back in the state that it was in at the last meeting, to see if there's any changes you'd like to see.
Okay.
From what I was reading and what I think I asked for is like, you want to be able to put your camper out front or your boat out front for the weekend while you're cleaning it up and stuff. And this allows for that. But it doesn't allow just parking all the time. Yeah.
Okay. Are there any? I guess,
Well, Aaron, wouldn't that, they would have to exclude two to allow that for the RVs and the campers?
2 has a clause in the last line.
Oh, it does
that
give the 48 hours.
Exceed
Never mind.
48
Yep,
hours.
Sorry, yeah,
Right.
you're right.
That's your weekend activity.
further issues or discussion?
I think overall it looks like it's trying to accommodate everybody's concerns and issues that have been here talking about it. And so I think it's a good start. And if we find we have problems down the road, we can always come back.
Okay. Well, based on that, I would ask for a motion to approve it as scripted.
I'll offer a motion.
Motion by Mr. Rigler and a second by Ms.
Yeah.
Roberts.
And this is just first reading, right? We're gonna have 3 readings. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, yeah, this is the first reading, as Ms. Roberts noted. There'll be 2 more. Hearing no further discussion, I'd ask for a roll call, please.
Rigler,
Yes.
Etcher,
Yes.
Roberts.
Yes.
Murphy,
Yes.
Thank you very much. Item 6E this evening is ordinance number 548, amending the water rates. Any motion on this?
I'll give you a motion.
Motion, Ms. Roberts.
Second.
Second, Mr. Etcher. We've had much discussion on these topics. I think we decided on a pretty clear path.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
We did put in the ordinance, the water ordinance, I believe, is 10% of the water receipts as outlined shall be placed in an interest-bearing reserve account.
So just for clarification, nobody wants their rates increased ever. But we're gonna have to build a wastewater treatment plant. And so this allows us to start gathering that money, getting interest on that money. And it's an increase, but it's not a huge increase. It's like $3 in 3 years-ish, right in there. And I think we did some math and it was $8 to $10 on a standard family usage. 5,000 gallons. So I'm not a fan of raising rates ever, but I think this is the best case scenario and then allows us to draw some interest on that money. So that's just for public clarification.
Okay, yeah, appreciate those comments. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Roberts,
Yes.
Murphy,
Yes.
Rigler,
Yes.
Etcher,
Yes.
Moving along, need a motion to approve ordinance number 549, amending the code of ordinances regarding sewer service charges.
Same motion. I'll go down in flames.
Second.
I appreciate that. Motion, Roberts, second, Mr. Etcher. Any further comments on this one?
This one also contains a provision, 17.5% of the sewer receipts will be placed in an interest-bearing reserve account.
Great, thank you. Hearing no further comments, I'd ask for a roll call, please.
Roberts,
Yes.
Murphy,
Yes.
Rigler,
Yes.
Etcher,
Yes.
Okay, moving along. Item 7, department reports. Are there any staff members that wish to make any comments this evening?
Just have a couple things. First one is the state approved the LoSAP program. If you guys heard of that, it's a length of service award program for firefighters, EMTs, volunteer and reserve police as well. What I'd like to do is maybe at a work session, be able to go through all this in detail with my other officers with us. I did do some research and got information from Nevada, what they're doing as far as the different points awarded. So basically it's an award. It's based on 100 points a year. You get different things for like call response, training hours. If you're a lieutenant or a captain, you get a little more points to different things. So if you can get to the 100 points, then the state would match whatever the city puts in, up to $500 per person per year. So I'd like to go over that sometime in a work session. Yep. And then also, begin the discussion on a truck like Dave and I have been talking about. So maybe we could add that to that as well.
Appreciate that. Aaron, anything this evening?
No.
Thank you, ma'am. Barb?
I actually have three things. As you can see by all the boxes, we are having our fiscal year 25 audit this week. It's going well so far. There is still time to register for the league's annual conference. It's in Des Moines this year from September 17th to 19th. So if you'd like to go, let me know and I can get you registered. And also, we will have packets of election papers that'll be ready to pick up next week. They cannot be turned in until August 25th. You'll need to turn them in between the 25th of August and the 18th of September. Yes, we have 3 council seats and the mayor's seat up this year. 8:25 to 9:18.
The only thing I would have, Heather had another commitment. She was visiting with Story County regarding a REAP grant, but it looks as though the splash pad, they had it operational today. I hope to have the sod down and everything pretty much done, and it will open on August 1st as planned. So.
Great. Mr. Murphy?
Nothing tonight.
Ms. Roberts?
No, no, thank you.
No, thank you.
Yeah, just briefly, we touched on it last week, but I would like to, I don't know if a work session is the appropriate session for it, but to have a discussion about Plat 4 engineering fee that was assessed to the people within the development and whether or not we can discuss how that influences TIF allotment towards the builder.
I would just let you know that Public Works Director and his staff have prepared some talking points. They have a meeting scheduled with both the engineer and the contractor, I believe. Is it next week or the week after, Jeff? The week after. And then we hope to come back with a staff recommendation for that, but they're going to try to get it worked out with our staff. So.
Okay, thank you very much. That will conclude our regular business this evening. We do have a work session this evening with one work session item. And that's regarding an easement coming off of Centennial through the Herons property. Mr. Heron?
Congratulations on a quick meeting, 20 minutes in. Very efficient. No, thanks for the council and sorry for the reschedule from last time. We had something come up unexpected, but thanks for letting us do another work session here. And I thought maybe just a quick 5-minute recap of where we've been, because this is now work session 2, also for those that are attending for the first time. But Barb, I wonder if you want to go to the pre-read slide at the very end of this massive deck as I kind of try to articulate. And if you want to go up to the second or third, one more.
right there. The yellow thing there. So the topic here is we have a property on Ballard Drive that on the east 60 feet of that property, of our property and our neighbor's property, the Marx's, and the east 30 feet of the Polowick property, which are all denoted by the yellow thing, has an easement granted to the city. And this was done, 13, 14 years ago from the developer. And basically it's there because there's utilities and the city has to have access for the utilities there. You'll also notice in that yellow shaded area, there's a gravel road. And that gravel road is an extremely convenient pass through from North Fifth to Centennial. And so we have in the last working session talked about what's the legal right to access that gravel road. And I think we concluded at that time that it would be worth a document search to identify what are the rules of engagement to access the road. And maybe Dave, you can mention in 2 minutes kind of what the outcome of that is. But we also in the last work session, we talked a little bit about how frequently does this happen and what kind of trespassing happens on this road. So we did a little study with these pictures that you see we handed out here, and that was just from a trail cam we have looking at our property where we're looking for wildlife and whatnot. And I just did a little mathematics and said over a 30-day period, there were 291 examples of trespassing on that space. So if you just put a number to it, 10 times a day, there are people back on that gravel road. And those pictures, you can see all kinds of things. It's kids fishing, it's kids on scooters, it's delivery vehicles, it's construction crews, you name it. Back and forth there. So this is not like a random once in a while occurrence. This is an everyday occurrence for us. So that just to make that point, that's just data from the back. And I think based on the discussion a few weeks ago, I think we've concluded the search of records, and maybe that's where Dave, you should comment now of what is the outcome of that, because that's what we've been working on for the last 4 months since the last work session. But maybe you can inform all of us how that turned out.
Well, the outcome, so West Centennial and Ballard Drive were built as Plat 1. And going back through the research, Plat 1 was Randy Schaefer and Dixon Jensen were both listed as were listed on that agreement for that plat. Randy had a drive that came out about right where West Centennial is. That was the drive from his house. On the construction plans that were put together by the city's engineer at that time, I believe it was Bolton and Mink. They showed a temporary access going to Fifth. And as part of the construction plans, they put in the drive approach off of West Centennial. And Dixon then gave an easement to the city because they were originally slated to have a cul-de-sac coming off of Ballard rather than two very large lots. Within that, we did visit, or I think we had staff visited with Randy Schaefer, and it was the city's contractor that put in that gravel access off of the paved drive and actually built his parking around his garage a little bit larger. So it was a city contractor that did that, is what we came to find out. Now, there wasn't anything from Dixon, but it was a city project. The city bid it, they let it, put the approach in as Randy's drive and put the gravel in is basically what it comes down to. And that has been used as an access drive for the Randy Schaefer property, which is now the Travis Baker property since 2011. That's it kind of in a nutshell.
And so I think that's because we haven't also found the legal documents behind that access. That's exactly the point for this working session. We've got the easement for the city, and that's not really in question. That's to be followed as written. We've looked at that 10 times and with our attorney, and it seems very clear with that easement, we can take actions to control the public access. And that would be really three things. One would be within the easement rights, we can convert that gravel over to prairie. We can also install a fence we're at the access point on the north side. That's through the fence permit we got from the city. And of course, we need better signage. There's not really a harsh worded sign that prohibits or kind of encourages people not to access that road. It's very kind of inviting right now. And because it's so darn convenient, of course, people take advantage of that.
And so the last point, though, is going to require the city council action, and that is this easement transferal that the previous city council did 2 years ago to the Bakers. I assume under the assumption that there was a legal document that defined that access, that provide the backdrop for that. But now we don't have that. And so our basic request is pretty simple, to revoke that easement transferal and clean up that whole thing for all property owners now, but all property owners in the future as well, that won't find any documentation to justify that access. So that's basically the request today to the council, is to deliberate that and come to that conclusion based on now the new facts that we've just spent 4 months identifying.
I would like Aaron to review the legality of what the city did prior to council. And I also know that the Bakers are here this evening and they'd also like to make some comments.
Sure. So yeah, I've had an opportunity to review all the documents that have been provided as well. I think, and we had this conversation at the last work session as well. I think it's clear under the original easement that was granted to the city that it contemplates that there could be successors or assigns of the city. So that's clear in the document that there could be assigns. What you have done is partially assigned your easement rights to the Bakers, which I don't see any restriction of the city to do that in the original document itself. So I think you could do that. We have researched the case law on this. I think the case law is clear that the city could not expand their scope. So you could not give more rights away than what you currently had. As I understand the partial assignment, I don't believe that you did. What you gave is specific to that property owner to have ingress and egress rights, which is what the city had. You didn't give them any more rights than that. You weren't granting, I think to your point, and I'm sensitive to it, you weren't granting public access unfettered. And so I think to your point, certainly there can be signage, it can be documented well that it is for the Bakers' use only. But I do think that the city had legitimate grounds to take the actions that they took. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you for those comments, Aaron. Is there anybody else from the public? Certainly give you an opportunity before we're all done, but anybody else from the public that would like to speak on this this evening? Just ask that you come to the podium. And if you would, please just start with your name and address to identify yourself.
Travis Baker, 1011 Highway 69, the owner of the other portion here. I don't really have too much to say because I think you guys have pretty much heard everything and you know it inside now, but we did find some documents that do show it saying Schaefer Drive access. I don't know if you guys have seen those, and it does show the south one as a temporary access. So it was his driveway. Randy came over, the previous owner. We talked through it and he did say, yes, that culvert was put in, the creek was crossed, the gravel road was crossed as his driveway. That was the intended purpose. So regardless of where the easement goes, I mean, really, I think it's a question of usage at this point. And the usage is a driveway. And I didn't see the pictures, but I'm assuming a lot of the pictures are us using it. Yeah, I mean, most of these are us, Amazon, friends, yeah. So I don't. A lot of duplicates, Amazon going in, Amazon going out. So maybe 293 could probably be a third of that, maybe even a little less than that. But yeah, I mean, that's us. Most of that's us, kids, friends. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I think that was the church that took the wrong turn. Because if you type in the address in most apps, that's the driveway that comes up because that's the driveway. For a long time, that's the only way to get to the house. So, I mean, it's the primary access to the house. So the other side of it too is I did some research also. That's me. That's our friends. I mean, I could go through each one if you want. I could almost name. Okay. Yeah. So the other part of it is I think the usage, because I think we got to this point because, we talked to our attorneys when we first bought the place. We went through this because we thought it was odd too. Why does our driveway go out the side. They went through the whole process. They looked it up. They talked to the city before we bought it. And the city came back and said, oh no, that was the intended purpose. We found all the same documents. It was always a driveway. We talked to the previous owner and he said that easement will always be there. It won't be an issue. Well, now it's an issue. So I called him back when the Herons originally contacted me and said, we hired an attorney. I went, oh crap, where's this going? So I called my attorney and said, hey, I thought this wasn't going to be a problem. And he said, well, you know, I mean, it is a city and it won't go away because it's written that way, but you probably should have your name on it just to not cause any more problems. So that's when I went to the city and said, hey, can we get our name? Yep. You went through the whole thing. You said, yep, that was the usage. That was the intended purpose. It's not a problem having your name on it. So that's where we're at with it. The other side of it too, like in a legal sense too, I mean, it's really getting to the point where it's a prescriptive easement also because the usage, it's been 10 years in Iowa. Same usage for the same purpose, basically fills all the buckets as a prescriptive, easement. So I don't see where there's any argument in it, really. But I mean, I said we talked for an hour about it, but really, I don't think there's any point. I mean, at this point, it's a simple thing.
Yeah,
Right.
can I offer a quick comment on that? And Dave and I have had this conversation. I would offer to the council at this point that I don't think legally that the city did anything that needs to be undone. I've perceived this really as a matter between the two property owners. If, to your point, if you believe that you and your attorney can argue that it's a prescriptive easement, I think that's a route that can be that you can go, but I don't think that this really is a city issue at this point.
Thank you, Mr. Baker.
So if I'm correct, and correct me if I'm wrong, because you were on the council at the time and so was Tracy, it was unanimously that we voted for this. We got legal advice from our city attorney. I think what we could do now is do signage, that this is a private drive, for the Bakers, for private use only. Then we get into an enforcement issue, but I would vote for, that we would do that, but this was done by a previous council that I was on, the mayor was on, Tracy was on. It was voted unanimously. Our current attorney is telling us that we did nothing wrong. I think we don't need to be discussing this issue any longer.
Yeah, sorry to cut you folks off. Is there anybody else from the public that would like to speak on this item before? Please.
The transparency of the issue looks kind of stinky. Nobody was notified that he was you're gonna transfer that. I guess you could just do that. The council can just say, hey, let's get together some night, not tell anybody else what's going on. Is that normal, I guess?
I think this was discussed at a couple of work sessions and it came back with legal on at least one, if not two occasions afterwards.
Because usually in situations, you notify your neighbors, kind of a neighborly thing to do even. So anyway, that's only my question. I guess you can just do that.
Sure, it's a fair question, fair point. My understanding would be that there's no obligation to notify surrounding property owners. Certainly the meetings are public and posted. I get that doesn't notify everybody, but yes, nobody was notified, nor do I believe anybody was obligated to be notified, but your point stands for sure.
I see it.
I guess I just want to add, because I've been here forever and I was here when Schaefer's built that and that was always their driveway. That was always the intent. I don't think we would have went forward with that development at all if they weren't having that as their driveway and anticipated to be their driveway from here on out. The road that you guys are talking about, their little frontage road, it used to just be a dirt road and it was just an access for them to get out of. I think you folks probably paved that to make it more handy. It was a tree farm through there. So they made themselves a path to get out of there during all the construction. Otherwise that wouldn't even be there. But it was always intended to be their driveway and I've been here a long time. I don't know if it matters, but that's why I think we did the things we did.
Yeah, I obviously wasn't on the previous council, but, oh, sorry.
No. I think us getting on the easement wasn't a nefarious thing to try to do it. It's just what our attorney, they hired an attorney. Our attorney said, I'll talk to the city. You could just probably get your name on it. It wasn't like we tried to go behind anyone's back to do it. It's still at this point, even if we weren't on it, wouldn't change the fact that the usage has always been that way. I mean, I think it's always been the same. That doesn't change anything. So I still don't see what the issue is on that. And we offered to pave the rest of it. We've offered to buy it. We've offered to invest in it, and we haven't got anywhere with that. So just want to have that.
Appreciate that. But Mr. Wagner.
Yeah, since I wasn't on the previous council, I wasn't a part of the vote. I only have the information that came to us this year where the property line appears to end on the east side of that. Maybe this is an Aaron question, but from a legality standpoint or from the previous contractor putting gravel there, maybe council's not supposed to be coming up with solutions, but where my brain goes is if it's meant as a private drive for the Baker property, you would know, I guess, but is that tree line there? Could that road be moved to the east side so that it's not on the Heron property and then cut the corner as that access? This map that we have is relatively grainy, but I mean, if I purchased a property as you both did with the impression that my property line ended here and the neighbors ended here, I would at least want my drive on that, potentially just to stay out of these types of discussions. But I don't know if that's something that's, does the easement keep us locked into that strip? Or if Travis was able to push the road a little to the east, does that get us out of this mess outside of the corner crossing for a private drive?
Yeah, so we'd have to revise the legal documents because they have legal descriptions. Could it be done? I think there's probably an avenue to do that, but it would require some, redrafting and approval of all the parties to accomplish that.
Okay. Alex, please go ahead. I just asked that you come up here so we can hear you.
He says there's 290 incidents, and this gentleman says that's all his kids and his best friends or whatever. So if he subdivides that and then there's 700 incidents because he has another house in there, or Casey's goes in there, I mean, Casey's probably won't. Does that materially change the easement or the problem for the Herons?
Yeah, so the scope of the easement that the city granted to the Bakers was just to the Bakers. So
The
from
Bakers subdivide their property somehow, and there's another house in there, that materially changes the easement, doesn't it? Or, so if I have a Casey's come in, you rezone to a Casey's and I have an easement on my property, and now I have 2,000 people come in instead of 200, I'm just out of luck, or how does that work legally?
Yeah, so I understand your point. I think the issue again goes back to the two property owners that are sitting in the room and whether or not that would indeed change the scope, because what the city did at the time didn't change the scope of the easement at all.
But if Baker decides to sell half his property, that easement then will go to the other person too?
It could, yeah.
Even though materially, the scope of the easement, just the Bakers coming in, now you have another family or something there.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
No, I appreciate the point. No, I'm saying from when the city took that action though.
Oh, I'm
it
just
did
saying
not change it.
hypothetical.
Yeah,
Legal.
hypothetically, I think that could increase the number of folks that could use that easement.
But then the easement will go to those other people too, hypothetically?
Hypothetically, it could.
Will it 90% hypothetically, 20% hypothetically?
Well, I mean, you're asking me hypotheticals. I don't know what the structure of the relationship would be.
Let's just say hypothetically, there's a house there and now instead of 290 people driving through, there's double that.
Again, I think the question is, are each of those people going to need the ingress egress access? This isn't unfettered access for any reason. Is there a reason? Is there no other access point? It's for ingress and egress. So I think it's going to be different for each property owner, and we'd have to see how it was subdivided and all those things.
Okay, I just, in the future, in case they decide to subdivide or sell some of their property, what happens then? I just was curious.
Sure. Fair.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, sir.
Aaron, would that be up to the council to decide at that point whether
No,
the easement?
no.
Okay.
The city has already granted the partial assignment.
Thank you.
there's nobody else from the public, I'll give Mr. Heron or Mrs. Heron. Oh, Mrs. Heron, the final word. Okay. Oh, there you are. I'm sorry. I was looking back there for you. I'm sorry.
I don't think there's anything further for the council to do. I think it's out of our hands at this point. That's where I believe we have landed.
I agree, and I would be up to the city doing signage to, say it's private property. But, you know, he's got the right, since we give the easement, to have deliveries, friends, family, whatever. 290, I don't know, it's like, I don't know what period of time it was, but,
It was a month.
1 month. I go up down my drive several times a day, so I feel for the Heron family, but we did everything right, I believe, and I don't see any changes in this.
I'm Lyle Martin. I have a motion. Anyway, if you would approve to put signage up, say keep off private property, would you enforce it, the city? I'm just asking. Because that's the key. Because anybody can put a sign up.
So the problem with that, Lyle, is we can put up the signage, but the bakers have the right to have their family, their friends, and the deliveries. So at that point, what would we decide is illegal? And I think that it'd be a problem for the police department to enforce, because like Mr. Baker admitted that one of the church people drove down there the wrong way. And it was, not intentional, but probably turned around and went back the other way. So I think signage would be good, but enforcing the signage would be problematic.
Yeah, I don't love that there's an easement on someone else's property. Travis, I walked it with both of you guys. I would love to. I don't know what the compromise is. It sounds like you guys both understand it's probably a civil thing as far as how that crossover would happen, but I honestly feel like how the property was sold to you guys appears misleading, because you guys were both under the impression that that sliver was on yours, and the documentation, I apologize for hitting mic, that we were given shows the property line on the Herons, which to me doesn't feel right to have given. I feel like we should have allowed some sort of access point to you just on your property. That's the only part that's odd to me, is that it is where it is. The other thing is, one of the Herons, I think, talked about if they had an approved fence permit, which obviously creates a giant debacle if both property owners need to be able to get through it.
Fence permit expires after 1 year, and it was initially issued in 22, so it would require a new fence permit to do anything at this point.
I thought, well, yeah, I guess I was under the impression that it didn't move forward because they took it to council, but yeah, I
think the initial permit was approved by the previous administrator, and I believe it was in 22, and those permits are good for 1 year.
Correct point. We've sat on that for 2 years now. We had this discussion with the council, but didn't want to rein through it without the letter. So that's.
Yeah, to be fair, yeah, you've been coming here for 1 year, yeah, quite some time.
Yeah, I get to wrap my part up. I think that it was probably a fumble on the developer side as far as how that was documented, and it sounds like legally our hands are tied. I don't like the way it was done, but I feel for both of you guys, because it's a neighborly thing that I think that had it been documented better, it would have been taken care of differently, maybe.
I would just echo the sentiments of Corey there. I don't like the situation, but I also understand the situation. And I think it really truly, unfortunately, comes down to a civil matter between finding the solution. I would be more than happy to help find a solution if possible. But legally, I don't think that that's our part to find the solution.
Okay, well, Mr. Herring, it appears that the consensus of the council is to leave this matter as is, as the easement is currently prescribed. So certainly, as we've discussed, there may be some civil avenues that may be pursued between you folks. I appreciate that the Bakers, it sounds like there's some willingness to find something that's maybe more amenable to both parties. So I do appreciate that. Maybe there's an avenue there, but given the direction that the council appears to be willing to move in, we'll consider this matter closed for the time being. So I do appreciate your participation and your interest. So thank you very much. With that, I would ask for a motion to close the meeting.
Motion.
Second.
Motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor, please respond with aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Thank you very much. Our next meeting is on August 12th. See you then. Thank you.